For my presentation, I will be discussing Chapter 1, Segment 2, pages 6 through 11 of the Behavioral Neuroscience textbook. First thing I read was I learned about the three approaches that relate to brain and behavior. Found out that they are somatic intervention, behavioral intervention, and correlation. Now, a somatic intervention is the most common, and it involves altering a structure or a function of the brain or body to examine how this present alternation changes behavior in the organism. An example of that would be administering a hormone or an electrical stimulation of the brain. The second one, behavioral intervention, is the opposite of somatic intervention. It involves intervening in organisms' behavior to analyze any changes in the body function. An example of that is presenting a visual stimulus and then watch to see what changes are in the brain activity. The third is correlation, which explores the given body measure with and its correlation with given behavioral measures. There are pros and cons of this approach. The correlation, if any, are not direct, full proof of a causal relationship. If a relationship is present, there is no way to tell which variable is independent and which is dependent. There could be a third factor that was the cause of the relationship. Next, I read through neuroplasticity, which I found out was the behavior that can change the brain over time. There is a reciprocal relationship between the behavior and the experience and the brain. Examples show that experience can affect the number and the size of neurons as well as the connections between these neurons. This is called neuroplasticity. There are biological and social psychology also related in this. Plasticity can be affected by other individuals. Some plasticity lasts for a short period of time, while others can last a lifetime. In many cases, there are social and biological factors that are continually interacting, causing ongoing effects. An example of that is testosterone in a man's circulation in relation to his aggression. And last, biological psychologists use several ways of levels of analysis. The first one is reductionism. Reductionism is scientific explanations involving the breakdown of a system into smaller parts for a better and easier understanding. The act of finding explanations for behaviors requires several levels of bioanalysis. These units differ in structure, each one being simpler than the one prior. Levels of analysis go from one interaction, progressing further until one single cell is all that is left from the interaction that we started with. And the last thing I read. The brain and behavior are reciprocally related. The relationship between the brain and behavior is, on the one hand, very mysterious because it is difficult to understand how a physical device like the brain could be responsible for our subjective experiences of fear, love, and awe. And that is my presentation.